1 microliter into the GCMS system. From experimental conditions, we are using ISQ 7000 advanced ion source. You can see ion source temperature is 270 degree. Column, we are using exact trace DOA column exactly for analysis of these compounds, and special gold liner for this analysis. And of course, chromeleon from station data. And you can see here, I just choose monoacetyl morphine, which is small 6 MAM, which is very important for case study of using heroin of the people or some of the athletes which are using morphine or codeine, ephedrine, emethine, or something like this. And this is very important compounds to look if it's in your urine or hair when we are extracting from hair forensic compounds. There is existing, of course, also application Thermo Fisher, which are really in detail. If not, you will need something, just write me email and I will answer you all application about drugs of abuse in human urine. From a real comparison between Agilent and this is not secret information. This information I choose from internet. You can see they are using Agilent. Agilent is using 5977B for all their portfolio of instruments. I mean single quadruple. If you look, limit of detection 24 femtograms according stainless steel, because they have 4 different ion sources. Stainless steel 24. If you look, we have small turbopump 10 femtograms. The rest 300 liter pump is 5 femtograms. If you look, their extractor ion source is 10 femtograms. Extractor EICI is the same 10 femtograms, and for their has high efficiency source, which you can see in the right down corner, it's less than 1 femtogram compared to our advanced ion source, advanced electron ionization source, which is less than 1 femtogram. That means in all parameters of limit of detection, we are for 300 liter pump even double time better, and for our top and Agilent top machine, we are 50% better than Agilent. For next focusing, we are jumping from ISQ to triple quadruple, PSQ 9000. We have the same ion source, the same ion transfer optics, quadruple 1, which is mass separation quadruple. Quadruple V, we call it quadruple 2, but this is collision serve for fragmentation, and it's heart of MSMS because it's another dimension of analysis, and then quadruple 3 for analysis. And then, of course, dynamics XR detection. We have the same portfolio as for ISQ for triple quadruple, 3 instrument without vacuum probe interlock, and 2 instrument with vacuum probe interlock. If you look the whole portfolio, we don't have small turbo pump as a entry-level instruments, but medium turbo pump, which is 240, 4 femtogram limit of detection, and then 300 liter pump, 2 femtograms of limit of detection, and our top machine, TSQ9000, advanced electron ionization source. This new source, 300 liter pump. You can see 0.4 femtograms is limit of detection. From application, I choose, of course, quantification of pesticides in food. You can see this workflow here. My target compounds list. You will get our pesticides compound database, which is more than 1,000 pesticides in this compound database. There is a precursor, production, and collision energy. And these three numbers are fingerprint for each pesticides over the planet. That means we have SRM, selection reacting monitoring, which is using for adding a new pesticides into the database. And then, of course, complete pesticides method. You can see here how it's working, step-by-step instruction, how to add new compounds to your database. You will get pesticides compound database from us. Automated SRM developing will show you precursor, production, and collision energy, and according this will add new compounds, which will probably be not in our database, but I'm sure all usually used pesticides in Europe and in USA are surely in our database. And that's why automated is following creation, full scan, production scan, and selecting reaction monitoring methods, creating sample sequence, analyzing results, and selection of precursor, production, and collision energy of each pesticides. You can see here instrumental method for GC, MS, triple quadruple. There is ramp, exactly column, and compounds database, as I told, more than 1,000 pesticides predefined in our database. And you can see few of the examples of results chromatogram at 100 nanograms per gram. You can see here Captain, metadifos, and so on. Some of them I choose for. Another application which I choose is also from environmental contaminants in surface water. We are also using sensitive, robust instruments with advanced ion source. At the down of this slide, you can see of the screen, you can see applications which we are using for this. You can download it from internet, this application, and you can use this other instrument exactly. It's in vial liquid extraction. You can see how we are fully automatic preparing this other tri-pass auto sampler. We are adding internal standards, then vortexing, that means mixing 2000 cycles per minute, and then we are taking only part of it and injecting into the GC, MS, triple quadruple. You can see experimental conditions of TSQ9000, which column we are using, which liner, all is described, and you can see few of the linearity of the range heptachlorobutadiene, and dichlorodiphenyl dichloretane. All RSD for calibration curves are fantastic, and you can see the lowest level of 5 nanogram per liter, which is according the EPA methods. And here is repeatability and limit of detection of few of the compounds from surface water, which I choose from the application notes. Next one is now my wife is working in pharmaceutical factory, and now nitrosamines are very, very popular because from 2018, valsartan was reported as a nitrosodimethylamine, which is contamination of the compounds, and FDA, US Food and Drug Administration guidelines immediately press on pharmaceutical factories nitrosamines impurity in human drugs as well as water and everywhere. And it's known as a mutagenic carcinogens. And you can see which currently are the most difficult 6 nitrosamines. You can see nitrosodimethylamine, nitrosodiethyl, nitrosoisopropylamine, and all these compounds, these 6 compounds should be searching and testing according the FDA prescription of the methods. And that's why we are using on that our triple quadruple GCMS for calibration and also for through SRMM transition for looking this into the compounds. The main challenges is headspace because some of them are temperature problematic compounds, and that's why you cannot exceed temperature more than 120 degrees. You can see linearity from these applications from nitrosodimethylamine. We choose 4 of them, nitrosoisopropyl ethyl isopropylamine, and you can see very nice linearity of the calibration factors, less than 8%. And you can see here detection limit of all the 7 problematic compounds which are looking there. And of course, limit of quantification level of these compounds. And applications, you can have nitrosamines in drinking water or nitrosamines in tablets. The last one, but not least, is dioxin analysis by TSQ9000. You can see polychlorinated dibenzofuran, polychlorinated dibenzodioxins. We are looking exactly these 29 compounds, 7 polychlorinated dibenzodioxin, polychlorinated dibenzofurans, and PCBs like dioxins. There is 400 possible congeners, but we are looking for 29. Until 2012 was only high resolution MS, our DFS allowed to check, but after 2014 also GCMS for maximum checking with compliance. That's why we are using our high resolution, we are using our TSQ9000 advanced ion source. You can see here out pops persistent compounds, how we are cleaning them up, extracting, sampling, and then analyzing by TSQ9000. Here you can see factors which should be. This is EU, European Quality Performance Criteria, which your instrument should pass when you would like to analyze dioxins, but only in food, not environment, because for environment is not allowed to use. You should use dual focus instrument. You can see all 17 congeners, and some of the separations, it should be separation less than 25% of the peaks isomers. And you can see another one, robustness, not only after 4 injections, but also after 61 injections. Conclusion of the dioxin analysis, we can pass all these WHO, World Hospital Organization limits, which are done for analyzing dioxins on your triple quadruple. Now we are looking on triple quadruple competitive comparison with Agilent. You can see our medium turbo pump is 4 femtograms as day, 7000 V triple quadruple GCMS, and then the rest of our quadruples with 300 liter pump is double less. That means not 4 femtograms but 2 femtograms. And if we compare their HES, high efficiency source, the maximum is 0.5 femtograms. Our system is 0.4 femtograms. That means 20% better. And last one but not least, this year we introduce and replace all Exactive and Q Exactive Orbitrap Exploris and Orbitrap Exploris 240. You can see where we are using Exploris, analyzing, testing, scientific research, high data, metabolomics, all information. If you need, just you can write me email. I can give you webinar only about Orbitrap Exploris instrument. If you look, you can upgrade for 30,000 to 30,000 resolution MS, 60 MS, and 240 is fixed. You cannot change this. And if you look Orbitrap key specification, you can see Orbitrap Exploris and Orbitrap Exploris GC 240 means 240 resolving power of the maximum which we can do. Sensitivity is 6 femtograms, and you can see all information about this instrument. From my side, it's all. You can write to chat box in your language, Bulgarian, and then I will answer you through them. Thank you very much for your listening, and have a nice enjoying another lectures from my colleague.
Thank you very much, Милош. Колеги, ако имате някакви въпроси, пишете в чата, моля. Това може да стане и по-късно. Ние ще намерим начин как да отговорим ние или колегата Милош ще отговори, разбира се, на вашите въпроси. За момента няма въпроси. Милош, no questions for the moment, so if they are later on, we will contact you or we will answer to the question.
Okay,
Thank
no
you very
problem.
much again.
Enjoy the rest of the presentations. Thank you very much, all of them.
Thank you. Сега продължаваме поред на програмата. Следва представяне на течните хроматографи, новите членове на фамилията Vanquish. Давам думата на госпожа Александра Манка. Alex, it's your turn.
Thank you very much, Christo. And hello and welcome also from my side. And I will continue with the LC part. Let me just share my screen. I hope you can see it.
Yes, it's shared and we can hear you.
Perfect. So I want to tell you a little bit about the liquid chromatography product portfolio, or how I like to call it, the Vanquish family. So you heard from Milos about GCMS, and so you know, from Thermo Fisher Scientific, we have a huge portfolio of equipment, and I will tell only a little bit about the liquid chromatography that you can see here. So when we look at the liquid chromatography product portfolio, there are a couple of things. So first of all, of course, you think of the systems that you see here, so the Vanquish systems. But we have also the transient LX and TLX systems that are usually coupled to mass spectrometers. But we have also the nice Viper and nanoviper phenotype fittings that belong to our LC product portfolio. Other two things that I want to highlight are the ISQ EC and EM mass spectrometers. It's a little weird for some people that we put these spectrometers in the liquid chromatography portfolio, but we see those more as mass detectors for LC than big mass spectrometers. And of course, then we have the charged aerosol detector, which is our unique universal detector. Which is also a highlight from our portfolio. So when we look at the LC systems, we divide those into the Vanquish Core, the Flex, and the Horizon system. So these are our analytical LC systems. And when we want to describe those each with one word, for the core, we would choose the word dependability. So this is our system, our routine system for really dependable results. Then we have the Flex, and how the name indicates, this is our flexibility flagship. So if we want to describe this platform with one word, it would be flexibility. Then we have the Horizon, which is our really high tier 1500 bar UHPLC system. And this one would be described with performance. So this is really our high end performance system. Then we have just recently, just a couple of weeks ago, we launched our new low flow LC system, the Vanquish Neo, which is a nano, micro, and capillary flow system all in one. Further, we have some application-specific systems like the method development system and online 2D LC systems, the Vanquish Duo, which is our productivity tier, and as mentioned, the Transient LX and TLX systems. These are really application-specific systems, and I will not talk so much about those. I will more focus on the analytical LC systems. So when we look at these analytical LC systems, what do they have in common? First of all, when we talk about performance, we have a lot of different pumps to choose from. We have binary pumps, quaternary pumps, ternary, and isocratic systems in our portfolio. We have the widest flow pressure footprint in the market, and with the Viper connections and optimized system fluidic setup. In terms of accuracy of the systems, we have an unsurpassed sample dosage with the new auto samplers with the metering devices in there. Then in the column ovens, we offer active and passive preheating, and we have multiple thermostating options within the column ovens. For sensitivity of the systems, we offer different detectors, like UV detectors, which are optimized on dispersion and baseline noise. Then we have very sensitive fluorescence detector, and as mentioned, the simple mass detection with the ISQ EC and EM. For confidence in your results, we have really, really high retention time precision with our Smart Inject technology implemented in the auto samplers. And we have some predictive performance indicators that I will show you later on. To increase your productivity, we have really improved the systems for maximum system uptime. And we also have the charger module that can be connected to each Vanquish system to allow to increase the sample capacity up to over 8,000 samples. All our systems are really flexible. You see, it looks like an integrated system, but what we have implemented here is our integrated modularity. So we have all the systems are set up of different modules. And with our pressure limit of up to 1,500 bar, we have really the highest pressure ranking on the market. When we compare now, again, the Vanquish Core with the Flex and the Horizon, so these are our three tiers. The Core is really our routine HPLC system. It can go up to 700 bar, while the Flex is more our UHPLC and HPLC system. For flexible method development, it can go up to 1,000 bar. And then we have the Horizon that goes up to 1,500 bar with unrivaled performance and throughput for high-end UHPLC applications. And here in this comparison, you see just these circles, and just to compare those. Retention time precision is of course really good with all the system, but it's best on the Vanquish Horizon. Same for peak area precision. What you see also here is the flow rate maximum. So the Core can go up to 10 mil, while the Flex goes to up to 8 and the Flex up to 5. And in terms of biocompatibility, the Flex and the Horizon, here the system fluidics are made of MP35N, which is a biocompatible alloy, while the Vanquish Core system is made out of stainless steel and with thus not biocompatible. So when we go to the Core system, it really enables you to deliver exceptional results. It's made to enhance your lab's productivity with some system intelligence, and it can be added to your current infrastructure and help you to upgrade your lab within your current infrastructure. Thus, we want to call it simple, really, to the core. When we talk about the Flex, this is really an HPLC and UHPLC system, so it can accommodate a wide range of applications. It's you can develop methods on it and do rapid parameter screening. So this is what it's made for. And when we go to the Vanquish UHPLC system, this is really our unrivaled performance system without trade-offs in robustness and ease of use. So it's really easy to use. It gives you high resolution and high throughput for most challenging LC and LCMS analysis. It features fully biocompatibility and an ultra-low gradient delay volume. So this is really the system for results without compromises. But I want to talk a little bit more about the Vanquish Core system, because this is our routine workhorse, and give you a little overview on the Vanquish Core. So this is how the system looks like. And when we go through the modules, what you see right here is a user interface. So you can order the system with a user interface, which is a monitor that gives you information on the status of the system and the health of the system. And we have also some maintenance videos on this user interface, so you can watch the maintenance videos right next to the system while you maybe do some maintenance on it. Then for the detectors, we have here a wide range of detectors, like the diode array detector, multiple wavelengths detector, the variable wavelengths detector, or the fluorescence detector. Of course, the charged aerosol detector and the ISQ EC or EM can be added as optional additions. For pumps, here we offer different pump types, like the low pressure gradient pumps, the high pressure gradient pumps, a dual gradient pump, or isocratic pumps. Another new feature is that we do automatic purging of the pumps. A new addition to the core is also the solvent monitor, the box on top of the system. So here you can monitor the level of different solvents or the waste. And we have two versions of it. with for 4 or for 8 solvents. With this smart solvent monitor, you can also predict so with Chameleon and the sequences, it also helps you to predict the estimated solvent consumption, so you know how much solvent you have and if it's enough for your analysis. In the middle, you have the autosampler. Here we have a cooled or non-cooled version with a tunable gradient delay volume. I will show you this a little bit later. It can go, it can do up to 1 mil injection, and we have what we call liquid handling. So you can program some, you can do user-defined program or liquid handling that you might know from Ultimate 3000 samplers already. And then on the right side, you have the column compartment. So this one can go up to 85 degrees C. We have optional active preheater, and in this column compartment, you can also install our method transfer kit that I will show you in a couple of minutes. When we talk about instrument robustness, so what we did is really we tested different systems, and not only in our lab in Germany in Germering, but also in different labs around the world. So that is what you can see on the right side. We did an analysis on 8 systems in 7 labs around the globe. So you see in Dresden, in Shanghai, in the US, in Nottingham, in the UA, in Birmingham, in the UK. And all the system passed the system's suitability test with remarkable reproducibility. So this is really a robust workhorse for routine labs. On the left side here, you see also long-term stability of the results. We did over 170 injections. The system was running 24/7, and you can see from these chromatograms, they really look all the same. So it has really excellent long-term retention time and area reproducibility. What is also new on the system is some scheduled system health checks. So this can be scheduled at system installation with a cycle plan and some set and forget. And then you run the system, you have a carefree operation. And when the system is idle and not running, you have some tests running in the background, and it notifies you if necessary. But of course, you can review the results also with some reports whenever you like. And with that, we have really minimized unplanned downtime because the system will tell you when something is wrong. And then, as already mentioned, the Vanquish Solvent Monitor, which has some patented technology. So it really measures the live consumption and waste accumulation while the system is running. So it's not only software driven, but a real measurement. And it records also when the Eloin bottles are refilled in the audit trail. And we have a 4-channel and 8-channel version. So this really avoids time lost and additional cost. It warns you, for example, if the waste accumulates, and I don't know how often this happened to you, but I think it happened to me twice while I was working in the lab, that I had a waste overspill and had to clean up, and that was really not nice, really ugly. Ugly solvent waste. So this is also enhanced safety features, and it helps you to prevent paperwork because it tells you if you have enough solvent to run your sequence. Then we have the Vanquish user interface. So this is how it looks like. So which information do you get here? First of all, you have some information about the modules. So here you see pump, autosampler, temperature. So this was taken, the pump was at 340 bar, flow was 1 mil per minute. The auto sampler was injection from this position. Temperature was 20 degrees. We injected 10 microliters, so you get some information really at a glance. Then what we have up here, what I really like, is this green heart that gives you some information about the system health status. So green, everything is fine. Then you have a navigation bar, you can click through it, and you have really some information at a glance. This user interface is fully compliant. You cannot abort or start a sequence from it, but you get some information. And the nice thing is you can even touch it with gloves. So it's gloves. It also reacts when the user uses gloves. Then what is also new with the Vanquish Core is that we solved some method transfer pain points. We know from our customers that method transfer is always painful. So, and this is the reason why typically a LC user tries to get the same system he or she is used to. But within the Vanquish Core, we have really some helpful tools to do method transfer from our competitor systems. What are the common aspects that you need to consider when you do method transfer? First of all, the differences in the gradient delay volume, so the GDV variations, then the thermostating, and also some dispersion and solvent effects. So typically you think it's time and resource consuming and you have no systematic approach. What we want to help you with is first of all with a tunable gradient delay volume and an optional kit that I will show you in a minute. Then we have the flexible thermostating on the column oven. Then we have the custom injection programs or user-defined programs within the auto sampler that can also help you with the method transfer. And last but not least, some clear guidelines. So we have some tech notes that help you to do method transfer. So what is this tunable gradient delay volume tool? So in the auto sampler, we have a metering device that aspires your sample. And so we see here, this is basically this piston that is movable, and you have a volume in here. And in this metering device, you can set the volume between 25 and 230 microliter. So you have the option to play with 200 microliter of gradient delay volume in here. And if that is not enough, you can add also the method transfer kit, which has a 200 microliter loop and a valve. This is how it looks in reality. And you can switch this loop in and out of the flow. So we have 200 microliter added if you need them, or if you don't need them, you leave them out of your flow. It's really simple setup and use in Chameleon, and it's fully compliant because once it's installed, you just switch it in or out, and you see it in the audit trail, and it's qualified with the system. And this is how you can shift it then here, your chromatograms with this gradient delay volume. So in terms of gradient delay volume, you can really mimic all kind of competitor systems. For example, the Equity Arc from Waters, the Shimatsu LC 2010, the Waters Alliance, the Agilent 1260, or the Agilent 1100, because here you see their gradient delay volumes, and the gradient delay volume of the Vanquish Core goes from 1100 to here 1400 and above. So you can really mimic all of these LC setups on the market. Here I want to show you only one example of a method transfer. So this is a chromatogram measured on a competitor instrument, same chromatogram measured on the Vanquish core. And the relative peak areas are almost the same on both systems. But when you look at the peak width, you see that on the Vanquish core, all peaks are narrower. And with that, the sensitivity and the resolution increases. So you get better separation of the critical peak pair. I want to talk only briefly about the new low flow LC system because it's really new. We just launched it a couple of weeks ago. So the Vanquish Neo, and this is really an all-in-one nano capillary and micro flow LC systems for high sensitivity LC-MS workflows. It really accelerates productivity with long-term trouble-free operation at maximum performance, and it's made not only for LC-MS experts but also for novice users and gets you really high quality results every time. So this is how this system looks like. I'm sorry, the picture in the background shifted somehow. So it's an integrated system. It's factory pre-assembled and pre-tested. So you get really a system that is made of modules, but you get it out of the box as an assembled system. It has a configuration, simple configuration for nano cap and micro flow LC. And as said, it has this slide in auto sampler and pump modules that we have on the Vanquish all systems already. You have this standardized configuration with optimized fluidics for direct trap and dilute injections. So this is how it is designed. You have all labeled solvent lines, an integrated capillary solvent and wasteline guides, and a bottle tray with predefined positions for recommended solvents on top of the system. It has then the ease of use user interface for ad system control and monitoring. So you have to get this display with the system. Like on the core, it's optional, but here it's with the system. You can control the system from this user interface, and it helps you with troubleshooting and diagnostics. You have on the bottom of the system, you have this unlocked slide system base, so you can move the system very easily. You have the drawer for some tools and consumables. You have one system power button and release integrated system controller with the Vanquish Neo system. As said, this is an all-in-one UHPLC system for nano, capillary, and microflow. So the settable flow range goes from 1 nanoliter to 100 microliter, but our recommended flow rate is 100 nanoliter to 100 microliter. This is possible with our new ProFlow XR active flow control in the system. It's factory calibrated already for precise and reproducible flow delivery, and it's designed for low flow column from 50 micrometer to 1 millimeter ID. And typical application areas are nano for proteome profiling, capillary can be used then for higher throughput and sensitivity, and the microflow rate for robust profiling of thousands of samples when you need a higher flow rate. I will, and for the sake of time, I will keep it very short about the detectors. So you can combine different detectors to each of the systems, diode array, multiple wavelengths detectors, the variable wavelengths detectors, the fluorescence detectors, the charged aerosol, or the ISQ-EC and ISQ-EM mass spectrometers if you need a small mass and intuitive mass detector. The ISQ, EC, and EM are our entrance mass detectors. So we call them more LC detectors, and they are really made for customers that are not, I would say, MS experts, but want to start with mass spectrometry and don't require triple quads or high resolution mass specs, which are okay with a single quad. So they are perfect for routine workflows in all Chromeleon enterprises, and they can be fully controlled with Chromeleon. So they are really intuitive mass detection. And of course, our highlight, the charged aerosol detector for label-free detection of any substances without chromophore, any substances that are semi-volatile and non-volatile, have a very dynamic range of up to 4 orders of magnitude with very high sensitivity, and then enable you for quantification using virtually any standard. So which are really our universal analyte detection detectors. Software, I will just mention Chromeleon, which is our golden standard, built for the lab, built for IT, so no compromise on these ends. Built for the lab with intelligent functionality for the systems. Like I said, the health checks, instrument overview, EU.
Alex, do you hear me? Hello, Alex. Колеги, вие чувате ли ме, да знам връзката дали е само с Алекс проблемна?
Аз те чувам, да, с Алекс явно има нещо. Връзката е проблемна, защото и слайдовете не се месят, така че явно нещо се случи. Ще изчакаме.
Ще изчакаме минутка. Благодаря и на колегите, които отговарят в чата, че се чуваме. Да, явно има проблем с Сандра Манка с връзката. Колеги, извинявайте, ще спрем до тук за сега. Ще кача в последствие всички презентации. Аз мисля, че презентацията на Александра Манка беше към края си. Това са рисковите на живата връзка, особено когато е във виртуалното пространство. Ще направим по програма почивка, като ще спазим 15-те минути и следващата презентация за ионна хроматография ще продължим в 2:30. Може да останете на линия, да не излизате от сесията, просто ще продължим в 2:30 със следващата презентация. Благодаря за вниманието ви до сега. Roman, just to inform you, we will continue in 2:30 with your presentation.
Симонас.
Sorry, it's for Simonas. Sorry, Simonas, we will continue with your presentation in 2:30.
Hello to everyone. Hi, Andan. Hi, Krista. Dimitar.
Hi, Simonas.
Okay,
We
you
will
can hear
start
me.
after, in
Mhm.
2:30, after 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just checking if you can hear me and you can see the screen.
Колеги, здравейте отново. Продължаваме с програмата напред. Господин Симонас Руди ще ни разкаже малко повече за мас спектрометрите за течна хроматография и някои от основните техни приложения. Симонас, it's your turn.
Okay, hello to everyone. I hope you had a good break. So I will show my face right now and we'll switch off the camera for better bandwidth.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, let's start with LCMS presentation. So it means I will guide you through a small journey through life science mass spectrometers from very discovery phase applications to very routine applications. And we will end with the TSQ Plus as a new mass spectrometer or new upgraded version of TSQ platform, which gives you better quantitative workflows and increased productivity. So as a very big picture, we can start to see where we are and what we can get for different applications. So roughly we can separate mass spectrometers we offer at Thermo Fisher Scientific into 3 categories: the triple quadruples, the hybrid instruments, and the tribrid instruments. While tribrids are mostly found in research facilities for large molecules as well as the small molecules, and it's due to unique features on these instruments, like 4 different fragmentation techniques: HCD, CID, ETD, and UVPD. Also unique MSN, so MS up to 10 capability, which allows to do structure elucidation for some molecules when you need to have the structure of an unknown compound. Hybrid instruments, Explorer series, are also found in research facilities, but very often they can be met in very basic routine applications like pesticides, wet drugs, and clinical toxicology, especially with Explorer's 120 model, which is a cost-effective solution for targeted analysis, but also for screening applications. And the last on the left is a triple quadruple mass spectrometers, is a targeted quantitation applications, and they are popular and the gold standard today and will stay in the future too. Despite Explorer's 120 tends to eat some business from TSQs, but TSQ is still a cost-effective and sensitive instruments for targeted only applications. So we introduced just a couple of weeks ago TSQ Plus instrument series. So we upgraded the TSQ Fortis, Quantis, and Altis with the Plus with advanced features. We will see next slide. So user of one system becomes a user of all systems. What does it mean? It means that with the new generation mass specs, triples, explorers, and hybrid instruments, we have a unified user interface. So instrument method editor, almost the same for all instruments. Of course, there are some changes depending on the model and the features of the instrument, but basic user interface stays the same among the all platforms, which means that very nice feature for technicians, for users who are jumping from one instrument to another. They don't need to learn lots of different software packages, I mean, for data acquisition, because user interface is the same. Also, method transferability is much easier, especially when you are going from discovery phase to routine applications or targeted. So method transfer is also much easier. Also, because of unified interface, and accessories can be shared among the systems. So you can move ion source or other accessories like ion mobility from instrument to instrument. So can also be a cost-effective solution, especially for bigger labs, then they have a chance to share the same accessory among different instruments. After data acquisition, to get the full potential of data you acquired on mass spec, you need to have a good solution in terms of the software, the application in mind. So for biopharma companies, which are who produce like large molecules like monoclonal antibodies or oligonucleotide therapeutics. So for them, usually they need to monitor critical quality attributes like intact mass, modifications, and or sequence coverage. So for them, Biopharma Finder is the right software to choose. Proteome Discovery is our main application for proteomics people, from very discovery phase for peptide identification down the stream to very large studies for protein plasma profiling studies. The next is a compound discoverer, very good tool for small molecule guys, especially when they want to identify some unknown peak in spectrum, then the classical library research fails to give a good result. And the last part is quantitative analysis, quantitative software, and here we have two solutions, TraceFinder and Chromeleon. And of course, natural question, why do we have two options here instead of one for another applications? Simple example is, and comparison which one to choose comes from the background, from customer background. So if customer is coming from very chromatography background, previously he was using GC, LC, or IC, and instruments were controlled by Chromeleon, and the next step he wants to add mass spec and don't want to learn any new software. So he can stay on the Chromeleon, so Chromeleon can control mass specs as well. Another reason why customer want to choose Chromeleon is the enterprise capability. So you can scale up from single workstation, especially when your company grows up, from one lab to another, to different factories, to different continents. This enterprise capability built in Chromeleon is the key for choosing this software. And the main part is compliance. If you are pharma or biopharma company in QA/QC laboratories, you need to have a compliance software, all the audit trails, electronic signatures. So the solution from Chromeleon is the right choice for you. On the other hand, if you, as a customer, basically don't need to have a compliance software, also you don't need to be on enterprise level today or tomorrow. So maybe TraceFinder is the right choice for you. And especially if you are going to use it not only for quantitative analysis, but also for screening with Orbitrap instrument, the trace finder is a right choice for you. So basically, it's the difference between them. It's a compliance and enterprise capabilities of Chromeleon. Otherwise, trace finder is a default choice for mass specs. So when we have a sample to analyze, we can look at the sample from a couple of angles. So first, we look at the on the sample, and we want to know how much of the compound X is present in the sample. That means that we have a targeted acquisition, and we do it most of time on triple quadruple instrument. Sometimes we want to know what else together with my target compounds are present in the sample. So we need to do some screening. So it means non-targeted acquisition. And then we need to have a high resolution accurate mass and do full scan to acquire all digital information of the sample. Here, Orbitrap Explorer series is an excellent choice. As I mentioned before, it can do targeted analysis as well as screening applications. And the last angle to look at the sample is what is different between my olive oil sample 1 and my olive oil sample 2 grown up in different locations. So tribrid instruments with different fragmentation options and MSN capabilities would be the right choice for what is different between my samples. But today we are talking about triple quadruples for targeted acquisitions. So when we think about triple quads, usually we think about target application means that we need to analyze compound which is already known, and we need to detect them at very low concentrations. And where triple quadruples can be used, the answer is short everywhere. So basically any application which needs to detect small amounts of compound X in the matrix, and can be very different matrix, very different applications for environmental food safety to pharma, biopharma, clinical toxicology, and even targeted proteomics applications. So triple quad still a gold standard for quantitative workflows. And with TSQ Plus, we bring this performance to the next level. So the TSQ Plus instruments, we have brought a couple of new or upgraded features which are available and can improve productivity. So to name a couple of them is a new active collision cell, which allows improved low mass product ion transmission, which also improves sensitivity. We have finally 5 milliseconds polarity switching, which also can improve method throughput. We have a hyperbolic surface quadruples for highly selective SRM, which allows to do more selective and more reproducible and even more sensitive analysis. Very new feature is MZ Cloud database integration. We have a separate slide to talk about that, and to improve method throughput. We have a global dwell time determination tools. Unfortunately, we don't have a time today to spend more on ion mobility things Pro Duo interface for TSQ platform, but yeah, it's also available for improved detection limits. So some of you, this slides is most important to have to see the numbers, how instrument compares to among other instruments in the platform or among other competitive instruments on the market. And I would say we have probably the best numbers. It means we are covering a high mass range. We have our quadruples, hyperbolic surface quadruples has a maximum resolution which can go down to 0.4 or on TSQ Alta 0.2. We have fast polarity switching to improve method throughput, large dynamic range, 6 orders of magnitude. We can handle lots of SRM transitions per second. I think it's biggest number on the market, 600 SRMs per second. Powered by MZ Cloud. We will talk later how we can integrate MZ Cloud library on TSQ platform. And most important is the signal to noise number to compare how sensitive system is between TSQ platforms. And of course, TSQ Alt is the most sensitive. So schematics of TSQ Plus instruments. So at the beginning, we have Optomax ion source. So all the gas connection and voltages are hidden. So you need just plug and play. We have a different electrospray, atmospheric chemical ionization and photoionization probes for different applications. The next part is ion optics. So on TSQ Altis instrument, we have a high capacity transfer tube with a wider bore to inject more ions and electrodynamic ion funnel, which helps to focus these bigger amount of ions. On TSQ Quantis, we have S lenses for improved sensitivity and robustness. And on entry-level TSQ Fortis Plus, we have a matrix separation guide for maximum robustness. After ion optics, we have an ion beam guide, which prevents neutrals to entering quadruples, so it will arouse noise and improves detection limits. Heart of mass specs is, of course, quadruples. Hyperbolic surface quadruples is unique and the heart of TSQ platform, which allows to select highly selective HSRM for 0.4 or 0.2 Dalton quadruple resolution, which prevents matrix interferences in the spectrum and allows lower detection limits. Improved collision cell with a higher speed and improved low mass product ion transmission is available on TSQ Plus. Advanced power supply, which means we have a very fast polarity switching of 5 milliseconds, which includes also stabilization time, which really speeds up analysis. So it's schematics of TSQ, what is inside the box. So all these features, which I mentioned before, I will try to explain how through the challenge with which customer face on daily life and how these new or improved features on TSQ Plus can help in daily life. So the main and usual challenge is for analysts, we need to every day to analyze more compounds, and regulations usually comes with a lower and lower LOQs and LODs. So there's 3 new or upgraded features like new collision cell with improved low mass product ion transmission, fast polarity switching, and HSRM can enhance selectivity and improve productivity of the mass spec. So I took this example, a case study for haloacetic acids. So haloacetic acids is a subset of disinfection byproducts at water treatment plants. And why we need to measure it, because these compounds are associated with a health risk. Classically, these haloacetic acids are done by GC-ECD technique, but which requires derivitization and the time consuming. And in this case, I want to showcase an ion chromatography and mass spectrometry solution to tackle this haloacetic acid, but also to show the new features of TSQ Plus as a proof that it really helps to improve the analysis. So these haloacetic acids are small molecules. You can see that the transitions we are monitoring is below 200 for parent ion, and the product ions are usually below 100 MOZ. So that's small fragments, small molecules. When we look on detection limits defined by an Environmental Protection Agency, so TSQ Fortis Plus entry-level instrument is capable to immediately to comply with LOQs defined by agency. Also, when we look on EPA 557 method, which defines ion chromatography mass spectrometry methodology to analyze these haloacetic acids, we can see that this Q40 plus method detection limits complies with all these regulation numbers. So basically you can comply without any further method optimization. You took the solution from Thermo Fisher, which we already developed, and set the method to be ready to run when you have it. Another case study I took for nitrogen impurities. Again, it's a small molecules, and why we need to measure nitrosamines, the same health risk associated compounds. And usually these nitrosamine impurities detection limits are set by FDA, or in Europe, EMEA, European Medical Agency. So we need to comply with the detection limits, and also the method needs to be validated, and because usually it's done in pharma companies who produce or import these products. So method needs to be running on Chromeleon software as a compliance software from data acquisition to data process. I took this example on VenQScore again as a core, as a cost-effective solution. We have entry-level VenQScore, entry-level TSQ40 Plus, and Chromeleon as a solution to nitrosamine analysis. When we look how small nitrosamines can be, we can see that precursor for these 7 nitrosamine precursors are roughly around 100 MOZ, and when we need to look for our qualifier and quantifier ions, most of the time they are around 50 MOZ, even below that, which means that our new collision cell needs can bring more performance to this method. And when we look on classical TSQ40 method, so we already achieved the regulatory guidelines of 5 ppb detection limit. But when we transfer the method from 40s to 40s plus and do a improved Q2 collision cell, we have a much better low ion transmission, and we can see that area count, the amount of ions transferred, and the blue line represents 40s plus. So basically on every compound, every nitrosamine, we have area improvement, so we can get even better results when you transfer method from 40s to 40s plus. Next step is how we can increase throughput. Of course, we can use different separation techniques, especially for lower detection limits, but sometimes it's not very cost effective to have both IC and LC. Of course, it has lots of benefits, but not always has money to have both of them. Another way is to look on in throughput, use positive and negative polarities in one run. So this polarity switching time usually has some time penalties. When we look on a whole cycle, what instrument is doing, so the green bar represents the dwell time, which means that we are measuring our SRM transition. Then the blue represents we switch from one transition to another. Then we do a couple of transitions, and then we do polarity switching. Then we do transitions in different polarity, and then we switch polarity back. So polarity switching, of course, time, it's included in the whole cycle time. It is not that critical, but of course, the smaller number is better. On previous platform, we had 25 milliseconds. It was not that bad overall because we are not switching polarity each transition, which some people still think that polarity is switching after each transition, but actually it's only done twice in the whole cycle. But with the 5 milliseconds, we have a even better performance. So Then we look on very short, on very narrow peak width, like 3-second peak width, and we want to have at least 10 data points. And with the polarity switching, despite some negative time penalties using it, we still have a good performance. We have enough data points even on very fast chromatography. And the last part of improved productivity, I want to mention that a highly selected SRM means that we can take the full potential of our TSQ platform, and we can use narrow quadruple isolation window, not 0.7 but 0.2 on TSQ Altis instrument. And what does it mean? That with a narrow quadruple window, we can filter out lots of matrix interferences, which means that we can filter out lots of matrix noise. And despite some ion transmission can be lower than on wider quadruple window, but on the hand, when we look for signal to noise ratio, so on the top example, on the top chart, we have a quadruple set on at nominal mass is 0.7 Dalton. We have signal to noise too, because lots of matrix are here. When we allow to squeeze the quadruple window to 0.2 Dalton, we have filtered out lots of matrix interferences, and we can improve signal to noise around 10 times. And in this example, that's a specific study done by Professor Jen Q. He looked at some peptides after tryptic digestion, and when he used quadruple setting of HSRM by 0.2 on TSQ Altis, he was able to look at the lower the quantification limits. The next part, how we can improve method optimization, or how we can refine methods, because with each new compound addition to the method, we need to have a standards, and we need to run optimization and include these data to our method. So first thing, what I want to mention that previous methods done on TSQ platform are easily transferred to TSQ Plus instruments. So the same or better performance are expected, and you don't need to do any further optimization when transfer the method from old to new instruments. Of course, it's not a big deal in general, but the next step I want to mention how we can improve this method creation by using our MZCloud library. Some of you probably know, if you are using Orbitrap instruments, so most of the time you probably use our MZCloud Online or MZVault offline library, which consists of high-resolution accurate mass spectra, which includes around 19,000 compounds, covering a very wide range of compound classes. And this library is built by injecting real standards on the Orbitrap mass spectrometer. And each compound is broke with different collision energies and a different MSN level. So basically, we have a very good curated library for screening applications. On the other hand, while we are building this library, we gain lots of information of the compounds and energies and the product ions. So we can use this information by exporting this data and importing as SRM transition to our TSQ platform. To explain how we can do this, I want to demonstrate that we took the entry of this compound, albendazole, in our MZCloud library. So in our MZCloud library, we have a data on our product ions from this compound. And we have a breakdown curves of different collision energies. So we took this MZCloud entry, we export data as a SRM transition. So Software takes the best 3 product ions. So in this case was the green 2, 3, 4. The next one was this almost red pink 191 MOZ product ion, and the third one is yellow 159. So we export data and we almost ready to go with our SRM transitions, but maybe we are not sure if this really optimum transitions which software did for us. Then we took the real standard of this albendazole compound and we did optimization on TSQ platform. And what we get, it was actually almost copy-paste the product ions and collision energy needed to produce this product ions. So what I'm trying to say that with MZ Cloud, you can easily export data from already available data and import as a SRM transition without further optimization and without buying real verified standards and without running compound optimization on TSQ, which really speeds up and improves method creation and optimization for new compounds. Next thing on the TSQ Plus instruments is the dwell time prioritization and automated adjustments. So at the beginning, we set the peak width and we set how many cycles, how many transitions we want to collect per this peak, and it sets dwell time per each compound. So at this point, all transitions are equal. So we can see that for different compounds, we have the same dwell time. So, but we know that some compounds performs very well, and but so some compounds can be very challenging. So what we can do, so for challenging compounds, we need to have a little bit higher dwell times, longer dwell times to acquire data, and some very good performing or good response giving compounds can be given a lower dwell times. So with this dwell time prioritization tool, TSQ Plus, we can set priorities for specific compounds. For example, we took some compounds which we know from previous run didn't perform very well. So then we took this compound and set priority from normal to high. When we set this to high, we change the dwell time, the amount of time which is required to acquire this transition. So the badly performing transitions has a higher dwell time, more milliseconds, and while the others transitions are automatically recalculated. So the better performing compounds has lower dwell time, and badly performing transitions has a higher dwell time. Which, if you take an example, if all the transitions were at level 3, which is normal, CVs were not good, then we improved for this compound, this pesticide. We put this compound on level 1 for high priority. We increased the dwell time, which improves, which gave improved reproducibility. So on one hand, you have a much better method optimization tool. You can set priorities on specific compound, and other compounds would be automatically adjusted based on your settings. Another thing of improved productivity is how much time you need to spend, or how much time instrument is running, what is uptime and downtime of the instrument. So we can increase uptime by reducing downtime. So downtime can be when the instrument is not performing and when it's not running. And another thing is how much time we spending on system calibration and checks. So on TSQ Plus, we have implemented system check and system calibration. So system check usually can be scheduled according to your preferred time. So system checks, and if everything is fine with the instrument, and it can be done in the morning or in the evening when it's not in a rush instrument. And if system check fails, only then it goes through system calibration, which takes a longer time. So basically you don't need to calibrate system oftenly, and system calibration usually is done just after annual maintenance activities or other bigger problems. And on routinely, you are running just system checks, and automatically system knows that if system check fails at some point, then he needs to then run system calibration, which improves uptime of the instrument. Another tool, we are using Almanac web-based monitoring program, especially if this is available when your instrument has internet connection available. So if you have a available instrument to be connected to internet, so basically you can have this program, and this program can be installed on your home computer, on your smartphone or laptop. So what it does not control your instrument, but it does monitor your instrument. So you can, when you're going out from the lab after work, during the evening or holidays, and you set the long sequence to run on the instrument. So basically you can log into this Almanac program and to see how instrument is doing, how many samples it did, how many it's left, how it's performing, and if something is wrong, if the stacked or results were not good, you can receive a notification. So you can be informed as soon as possible without waiting for you to come back after the weekend. So briefly, we have talked about liquid chromatography mass spectrometry solutions. We have talked a little bit about ion chromatography as a unique solution for targeted quantitation, especially for ionic compounds like polar pesticides or haloacetic acids. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to talk much about our online sample preconcentration EQ1 solution, which allows to go down to low PPT or sub-PPT levels for water samples. And unfortunately, we didn't have time much to talk about our paper spray mass spectrometry solution on PSQ platform, which allows for clinical toxicology customers to run 2 minutes analysis per sample without sample preparation, without chromatography, just spot your sample on the paper and put in this very spray mass spectrometry solution. And 2 minutes per sample, and clinical toxicology labs would be available to run hundreds of samples per day. As a summary, I would say that TSQ platform and new TSQ Plus is very robust and continues to be robust and maximum performance instrument, and the new features and new upgrades on TSQ Plus, like new collision cell for improved low mass transitions, advanced polarity switching, MZ Cloud library integration, and global dwell time prioritization tools continues to be the superior instrument for your quantitative workflows. So thank you. Please visit TSQ Plus website, and if you need more details, you can ask me later at a Q&A session, or you can ask ACM team. And I'm happy to take questions, or later we can meet at a discussion session. Thank you.
Thank you, Simonas, for your presentation. Ако има някакви въпроси, колеги, моля пишете в чата. Simonas, just a moment, there is a question.
Yes, sure.
Is there information how much is increased the productivity of ion source, HESI and Optimax in HESI mode?
Yeah, so Optimax NG is our redesigned ion source, which with the improved performance. There is no direct comparison of productivity I mean, how many samples you can do, but I believe I can find some, I don't have in mind right now, but I can find some applications comparing compound response on older source and the new source. So this improved spray angle, and yeah, it improves ionization performance for many compounds. It does not improve, let's say, productivity, or if the question was about productivity, so productivity probably needs to think about how many samples per day or compounds, more compounds can be analyzed. So ion source itself, it can be seen as an improvement in performance in terms of ionization efficiency or response of specific molecules. So if the question was about productivity, so probably we need to think about time savings, and the time savings comes from LC, like multiplexing, or mass spec side when we use a faster fast polarity switching or shorter dwell times, which can improve productivity because we can add more compounds. We lower lower detection limits.
Yes, and some additional, how much better the samples are ionized? Is there information?
Can you repeat the beginning of the question?
How better the samples are ionized?
How better, it depends compound by compound, because basically there is no direct application note or direct comparison how efficiency has changed. So unfortunately, I don't have the numbers or the application note which can give you a number of efficiency. But if it's really needed, you have the older instrument and you want to look how the new instrument or new source Optomax NG can improve ionization efficiency, we can talk offline. I can take examples from compounds you are analyzing on IonMax source, and then we can search for our demo chemist database if they did this compounds on Optomax source, and then we can see how it was performing. So hope this helps. So you can reach me or ACM team to check the specific details for your compounds.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Simonas. Не виждам други въпроси. Thank you very much, Simonas, for your presentation. If there are some questions later on, we will send to you for answer.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Продължаваме с следващата презентация, която ще бъде за ионна хроматография от господин Роман Репаш. Роман, it's your turn. Roman, do you hear us? No, we can't hear you.
Hear me now?
Yes, it's okay now.
And the screen, fine?
And the screen is fine.
Good. So good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. My name is Roman Repas, and my presentation is dedicated to ion chromatography. So first I will give you a short overview of our systems, and then I will focus on a new introduction system from last year, 2020, called EASIAN. And we hope it's for your laboratory and for your application. During the last seminar 2 years ago, that was the picture which we showed regarding the ion chromatography portfolio. So 4 laboratory systems, starting from the entry-level Aquion in the left, mid-tier Integrion, dedicated capillary ion chromatography system ICS 4000, and the flexible modular ICS 6000. So something new will be expected on the left side. First, let me summarize the system which we already offer to give you the overview of recent ion chromatography systems from Thermodynamics. By the way, it's exactly 10 years after the acquisition of Dionex Corporation by Thermo. So the first system is called Aquion, and it's an integrated system which is used for routine applications for basic anions or basic cations. You can use all our suppressors, so chemical suppressor or electrolytical membrane-based suppressor which do not allow or do not need the regeneration solutions. The pump is isocratic only. Detector integrated inside is the conductivity detector. Small integrated instrument for the basic applications, first of all for environmental laboratories, contract labs, small academic laboratories for teaching purposes. In Aquion, you can also use the sample preparation options, which allows you to do automatic auto-dilution of the samples, sample pre-concentration, matrix elimination, inline filtration. Column heater is an option. So you can have it with the heater or without, or it can be upgraded later. Eluent degassing is also an option. If you need a system which allows more applications, also using gradient separations, then we can offer you other system called Integrion. Integrion has also isocratic pump included, but with the eluent generator is an option, we can work under gradient conditions. And it can be set up for one application, either anions or cations. But gradient separations allow much more applications, also for oxyhalides like bromate, chloride, chlorate in drinking water. But it can be also pharmaceutical applications like various active pharmaceutical ingredients with electrochemical detectors, amperometrical cells. You can analyze saccharides in the combination with a mass spectrometer, single quadrupole or triple quadrupole. We can offer you the analysis of polar pesticides, amines in chemical petrochemical industry, or for instance, combination with so-called combustion ion chromatography. A sample which is not liquid, can be solid, can be burned, and then gases are trapped in a solution, which is at the end analyzed by the IC system, like Integrion. Next system in our portfolio is called ICS 4000, and it's a dedicated capillary high-performance ion chromatography system. Capillary IC is a very special system. Everything is miniaturized. Flow rate, injection volume, which is 0.4 microliters, would make sense if we have to work with radioactive samples, toxic samples, or very rare samples like from R&D in some of the industries like pharmaceutical industries. Can be configured with conductivity or electrochemical detector, or a special one which is called charge detector for weakly dissociated ions. Typical applications are anions, cations in mostly water samples, can be pharmaceutical samples as well, or corrosion studies, corrosion analysis in power plants. High end of ion chromatography product line is our modular ICS 6000 system. And this is the most flexible system for any application you can do in ion chromatography. So various modules like the pump module, which can incorporate one or two isocratic or gradient or capillary pump, or any combination of these two. Optional eluent generation module with electronics, which can control up to two systems with eluent generator cartridges. Then system on the left bottom side, which is called DEC, what stands for detector and chromatography compartment, which integrates injection valves, columns, detectors. There is electronics for two detectors, either conductivity or amperometry. UV vis detector can be like additional detector. It's on the right side, in the middle upper part of the system. And you can use one of our three autosamplers. In this case, it's the ASAP, the advanced performance autosampler for the most demanding applications. ICS 6000 can be used for trace analysis, as the parameters of the pumps and the detectors are the best ones. Can be used for high throughput analysis, pharmaceuticals, biopharmaceuticals, saccharides, organic acid anions, combination with mass spectrometry or ICP, MS for speciation analysis. So that's the high-end, most versatile modular system which we offer. But something was missing. So sometimes people need something what is very easy, simple, but still good for the routine analysis. And that's the EASIAN, the smallest ion chromatography system in the market, launched in August 2020, so last year. Small IC with big value. Gives us the simplicity, ease of use, robustness, small footprint, and cost effectiveness. Also, if the budget does not allow us to go for the high end. Almost the choice of the right ion chromatography system depends on the application. So be prepared for questions. If you are interested in ion chromatography, what we need to know, what ions you need to measure, what are their concentration ranges, so minimum to be measured, maximum. Then what is the type of the sample, so-called matrix? If it is easy, like drinking water or groundwater, or a little bit more complicated waters like wastewater or some industrial waters or something very exotic. Easian, also the name tells us it's an easy analysis of ions. One flow path, easy maintenance, fewer components, no need for special suppressor regeneration parts. Everything is easy, but inert. All components are made of peak, polyether-ether ketone. Nothing what comes into the contact with the sample or with the mobile phase is made of metals. It's just this type of plastics. So it's inert. Only one type of suppressor can be used here, and that's the chemical suppressor, which reduces the conductivity of the baseline, improves the reproducibility. Detector is thermally controlled. What gives us better reproducibility, reduces the noise and the drift. Less noise means better sensitivity, lower detection limits. So how does it look inside? Small IC, but the best design of the pump and pump heads. It's a dual piston, so the pump is 2 pistons, and they are working in series. So it's similar like in HPLC, just inert again, peak coating of the pump heads and pistons. Here you can see the injector. Only fixed loop injection is possible here, but you can easily change manually the volume of the injection loop. Next is the suppressor, so chemical suppressor with 5 years warranty in that case, without any need of additional pumps or special other parts. In series, there is our conductivity detector, which is thermally controlled. All the system is controlled by our Chromeleon 7.2 version of the software. There is a special plumbing of the system, which is called DCR, Displacement Chemical Regeneration. And to have the system complete, you need a kit, which includes analytical and guard column, chemical suppressor, right regeneration bottle kit, standard for anion analysis, which is 7 anion standard, and separately are shipped chemicals. So the concentrate of the eluent and concentrate of the suppressor regeneration. And the same, just another part number for cation separations. The best columns of choice are CS12A, IonPack CS12A analytical column for the separation of cations, group 1 and 2. And for anions is the column IonPack AS22. How does it work in this DCR chemical regeneration mode? Eluent from the column enters the chemical suppressor to the eluent inlet port and goes out through the eluent out port. Then it flows through the conductivity cell, and finally it goes to the regenerant bottle. There is no special pump for delivering the regenerant of the suppressor. Practically, the regenerant is then pushing the liquid from the regenerant bottle to go out to the regenerant inlet of the suppressor, and coming out from the regenerant outlet, it goes to the waste. When the system is new, you prepare from the eluent concentrate by easy diluting with deionized water the eluent, usually it's 2 liters. And also from the concentrate of the regenerant, you prepare the regenerant, suppressor regenerant bottle. Suppressor regenerant bottle is totally full up to the end, or up to the top, better to say. And during the operation, when the liquid, after all the analysis, goes to the waste, then you can observe then the volume of the eluent is less and less, but the regenerant bottle is always full. There is a high concentration of the regenerant solution, which allows you to work up to 2 weeks, depends how frequently you run the system. And until the eluent bottle still contains the eluent, you do not need to change anything. When the eluent bottle is almost empty, then you prepare a new eluent, and then you also change the regenerant in the suppressor regenerant bottle. Similar for the analysis of cations, only there is also a bottle different, because the regenerant solution for cations is tetrabutyl ammonium hydroxide, which is an organic compound, and the density is less than the density of water. Therefore, the cation regenerant comes from the top of the bottle. In the previous case, the regenerant from the anion analysis is practically sulfuric acid with higher density than the water. Then this is mostly coming from the bottom of the bottle. Applications. EasyOn is the perfect ion chromatography system for your needs. If you are looking for a routine testing of easy sample matrices like the water analysis is. So on this slide, you can see the isocratic separation, ion pack AG and AS22 guard and analytical column with mobile phase, or we call it eluent, which is a combination of sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate, regenerant at 50 millimolar sulfuric acid. And you can see pretty nice separation of 7 standard inorganic anions in something like 13 minutes. Concentrations here, it's like 5 to 10 milligrams per liter, so ppms, but you can go lower, down to something like 0.1 ppm. It's not for trace analysis. If the task is like, can we measure 10 ppbs, then we will not recommend you EasyOn, then we will go to the high end like Integrion or ICS 6000. On this slide, we would like to show you that simplicity means no compromises on the quality of the results. These are repeated analyses, 10 replicate injection of the 7 anion standards. And if you compare all these chromatograms, all the peaks, it looks pretty the same. Reproducibility of the retention times, which tells us what ion it is, and area under the peak, what tells us what is the concentration, is very good with this kind of instrument. Gives us reliable results. On this slide, we can see a real life sample, not only standards. And this is a drinking water sample analysis for the same 7 inorganic anions. So the concentration of some of the components is less than 1 ppm. It's like fluoride, nice peak number 1, but also nitrite peak number 3, bromide peak number 5, or nitrite peak number 6. These are even less than 0.1 ppm. If we zoom it in, let's say from the minute 4 to minute 13, then we can see also these small peaks can be quantified. On the next slide, we can see the cations in drinking water. So that's analysis done by CS12A column. And the eluent is 20 millimolar methane sulfonic acid, manually prepared from the concentrate. Regenerant is tetrabutyl ammonium hydroxide. Isocratic separation, and again, pretty nice fast separations of 6 cations in something like 12 minutes. Not only lithium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, but also ammonium, peak number 3, which is not so easy to be analyzed. And the concentration here, it is like single-digit ppm for lithium under 1, and we can go 1 order of magnitude lower. If this is the instrument which you would like, you would be interested in, what needs to be quoted? So it's the system itself or the hardware under this part number, and one of the analysis kits. There is one for anion analysis or another part number for cation analysis. Separately, the concentrates needs to be ordered depending on anion or cation analysis, and the Chromeleon 7.2 software. You can inject the sample manually using a syringe, or you can use autosampler, mostly ASDV. The small autosampler for full loop injection is recommended, but you can also work with bigger like ASAP, which can do a little bit more. PCs are mostly requiring Windows 10. And if you like other column chemistries, as what we mentioned before, then it must be quoted individually. So that's Easion, the newest introduction to our IC family, the easy system for reliable ion analysis, next to other IC systems, Aquion for routine analysis, Integrion also for RFIC, what stands for reagent-free ion chromatography using eluent generators for gradient separations, or capillary ion chromatography, very special IC system for low volume analysis, or the flexible and modular ICS 6000 for the most demanding applications. So Integrion ICS 4000 and 6000 can work up to 5000 psi high pressure. Also, we have special columns for these high pressure applications with 4 micrometer particles for better resolution. So with this slide, I would like to thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, you can write the questions to the chat, ask right now, or the colleagues from ACM2 can send me the questions, and then we can discuss later. Thank you again. Благодаря.
Thank you very much, Roman, for your presentation. Колеги, ако имате въпроси. Ако няма въпроси, предлагам съвсем кратка почивка да направим до 4 без 15 и ще продължим с последната презентация за хроматографски консумативи. Благодаря и до скоро, до след колко останаха 8 минутки. Thank you very much, Roman. We will have a break now for 8 minutes. Sorry, Roman, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
We have a question. Can we analyze with Easion cyanides. I will.
Cyanide,
Sorry,
minus.
cyanides. Yes, yes.
The answer is no, because cyanide needs electrochemical detector with amperometrical cell. And for such an application, we can offer you Integrion with electrochemical detector, with isocratic pump, or ICS 6000, the modular system with isocratic pump, DC compartment, electrochemical detector. Or if these are special samples which can work with capillary ion chromatography system, also ICS 4000 has the option of electrochemical detector. But if it is like cyanide in drinking water, where the maximum contaminant level allowed is 30 microgram per liter in European Union, if I remember correctly, then you need also technically high-end system like Integrion or ICS 6000. If we speak
Thank you.
total
Yeah.
cyanide, there is also sometimes requested so-called dissolved cyanide, and this can be also separated in higher concentrations by other columns. But anyway, we would recommend electrochemical detector, Integrion IC 6000.
Thank you. С две думи, цианиди не могат да се определят с изион, защото е необходим електрохимичен детектор. За повече информация, коя е необходима, ще дадем по-късно. Други въпроси? Thank you, Roman, again. So we will continue after. Ще продължим след 5 минути. Колеги, с последната презентация за хроматографски консумативи.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Thanks. Колеги, можем да продължим и с последната презентация. За добро или за лошо, хроматографските консумативи са неотлъчна част от хроматографския анализ. Така че те са важни толкова, колкото и самите хроматографи. Господин Снехал Раджа ще представи хроматографските консумативи на Thermoscientific. Снехал, it's your turn.
Christo, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay,
And
thank you.
the
Thank
presentation is shared. Yes.
Yes, okay, yeah, thank you. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Snehal Raja. I am responsible for the chromatography consumables part of the business. In this presentation, I will be going through on the portfolio what Thermo Fisher Scientific offers, which should give you a broad idea as to basically I will be looking into the workflow, basically the workflow solutions. So without wasting much time, let me the presentation. So give you a broad idea about what is business. Our consumer division, what we do have workforce around 300. We operate in 5 sites, which I will discuss in the next slide. And in terms of the staff what we have quite a multicultural staff, and we have people who speak more than 10 languages. So that is how we operate across the globe. This is the site. Sites. We distribute our stuff. So if you see, Lithuania is the place where we have our silicon manufacturing facility. Columns.
Sorry, Snehal, we can't hear you very well.
Now is it okay?
Yes, yes, now it's okay.
Okay, fine. Maybe a volume issue. Okay, right. So yes, so Lithuania is one of the sites where we have recently moved in, and this is the place where we manufacture our LC columns. So most of the supply which is happening in Europe comes from the Lithuania site. We do have the German site as well, the Langeware site. Here we manufacture our vials. We have about 3 sites in the US. This is basically to cater into the North American markets. This is our portfolio. So we have 4 broad portfolios: the LC columns, PC products, the sample preparation products, and the sample handling. I will be covering on each of the portfolios very, very briefly, so that you can have a sense as to what we can. Let me begin with the sample handling portfolio. Here we have 3 broad categories. The first section is the vials and closures. Next is the web seals and plates. Third portion is the sample management. This is basically on how we. This is basically the instrument what we are having for the vial labeling. But let me dwell a little bit deeper into the vials portfolio. So what we have is we have 3 kinds of vials what we offer. First kind is the premium vials. Now, if you see in this particular slide, the premium vials are made from the 33 expansion glass, which is supposed to be the highest glass quality. Here in the slide on the right side of the screen, you must see a picture which shows the quality of glass. So when a customer requires a certified vial, or they are working on a very highly sensitive sample, premium glass or the premium quality vial is what is preferred. Next is the routine analysis. This is the second level glass, second level quality vial. This makes about 60 to 70% of our business, because if you look into the premium quality vial, I mean, the applications are limited, but the major applications, for the major applications, the routine vials should be sufficient enough. And these vials are made of 51 expansion glass quality. Now, some customers must be wondering that, that I mean, there are customers who rewash the vials. Okay. So for those customers, what we also have a solution for them. We do have the choice range, wherein the glass material type is the 70 expansion glass. So 3 broad portfolios for the vials: premium, routine, and choice. So based on your method of application, you can choose between these 3 vials. This is a chart which gives you, or which rather indicates as to which kind of vial you should be using. So you see the premium vial here. It kind of ticks all the boxes. So sample cleanliness, sample stability, volume, method development, concentration, instrument compatibility. So this is the premier quality vial. So gives you a wide. So it's a kind of a chart which kind of helps the customer to decide, that which kind of vial he or she should be using. Next comes the broad LC columns portfolio. What we can offer. So here we have 4 divisions. We have the Premier, Legacy, the Bio LC, and the Nano LC, nano columns. So for the convenience of the customers, or convenience, basically customers, we have various brands. So under Premier, we have the AccuCore, Vanquish, Hypercils, Acclaim, Synchronous, and the Hypercarb. The legacy columns are the Hypercil BDS, Hypercarb, the Hypercil Classic D, and the Hyperpurity. You have, and in the Bio LC columns, this is mostly for the biopharma market. There we have the MapPack, ProPack, Glycan Pack, DNA Pack, ProSwift, and BioBasic columns, and the nano columns as well. These are quite. We have three columns here: EC Spray, Acclaim, and PepSwift. But these are very, very specific application columns. Again, this here is a chart which kind of tells you that the kind of coverage we give in terms of LC columns. So right from C18 to C8, the phenyl, biphenyl, the phenyl columns. So this chart tells you that Thermo Fisher covers almost all the requirements of the customer. This is a chart which kind of deep dives into each family. And let's say let's say a customer is interested in the Apple Gold range of columns, and he wants to know what kind of columns we can offer with the Apple Gold. So here you go. Gold, you got the C8, C4, phenyl, PFPs, and then cyanide. So again, this shows you that under each family, what is it we are offering. Coming into the sample preparation, here if you see, I have classified in here the 3 categories. We have the smart digest kits. These are kits particularly for the protein digestion. Then you have the sample, then you have the SP, that is the solid phase extraction products. So in this, I just want to dwell on one particular point, is the Quechers portfolio, which I'll be sharing to Dimitar and Christo later on. We have recently launched our new Quechers portfolio. Quechers are basically the products used in the pesticide analysis kits. Then in the sample preparation also we have the syringe filters, the syringes, the manifolds. Typically, the complete range is covered in the sample preparation portfolio. Coming on to the GC consumables products. Here again, I would like to mention that we have GC consumables which are very much compatible with the other brands. Typical consumables used on a GC platform are the gas filters, septa, columns, connectors, ferrules, liners, and the syringes. These are not just compatible only to thermo, but we do have, we have products which are compatible with other competitor brands. And what I'll be doing is I will be sharing a file or rather a chart to Dimitar and Christo on the cross-reference part numbers, which should be useful for all you customers. Just like the LC portfolio, we also have quite a broad GC column portfolio, covering right from PCBs to pesticides. We have the themes, the VOCs. So for the benefit of all of you, I have even named here the kind of columns what we offer. Just a word of note to the customers here that in case you are using any columns from our competitors, like example, let's say Agilent, you must be using DB5MS or a DB5 column. So if you see here, TG5MS here, TG5MS is equivalent to the DB5MS, column from the Agilent. So basically the nomenclature, the naming is named in such a way that it is easy to find out. So and in case you want to try out any columns to see the efficiency, you can always contact them, and I would be more than happy to offer you free of cost columns to try out our GC columns. The GC column family, the phases is mentioned here. This again gives you a broad picture about.
Sneha, we can't hear you very well again.
I don't know, Christo. I am in a proper range. I don't know. Sorry.
Now it's okay.
Okay. Sorry. Probably it's going out and coming. So sorry. Again, here it shows from non-polar to polar range. These are the accessories also what we are providing. The gas leak detector, gas flow meter, the toolkits, and we are also providing the reactive sampling system. This is basically for the customers who are looking for derivatization. This instrument is very, very useful. That's it for my portfolio, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Снехал. Колеги, ако имате някакви въпроси относно последната презентация, ако не, винаги, както знаете, може да се обръщате към нас за всякаква информация, свързана с хроматографските консумативи. Thank you, Snehal, for your presentation. If some questions exist later, we will answer or contact you if needed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Колеги, накрая с няколко думи колегата Димитър Петров ще покаже консумативите, които предлагаме от бранд АСМ2 хроматографски консумативи. Митко, към теб. Не те чуваме добре.
Здравейте, чуваме ли се?
Сега всичко е наред, да.
Надявам се и презентацията да се вижда.
Вижда се, всичко е наред.
За тези, които не се познаваме, аз съм Димитър Петров, търговски представител за хроматографско оборудване и консумативи на Thermo-Scientific. Колегите вече ви запознаха с основната част от хроматографското оборудване и консумативи. Аз ще се фокусирам върху тези консумативи, които предлагаме с наша собствена търговска марка ACM2. Предполагам, повечето от вас вече знаят, от близо 2 години предлагаме хроматографски шишенца, капачки, инсерти, сиринч филтри, ямкови плаки, инструменти за отваряне и затваряне и много други консумативи под собствена търговска марка. Гамата от хроматографски шишенца и капачки е доста голяма, като покрива всички стандартни и специфични изисквания на всеки потребител. Предлагаме светли и тъмни шишенца с различни обеми и размери, капачки с различни материали на септите, гума, силикон, тефлон, различни дебелини и твърдост. Предлагаме също и сертифицирани комплекти за хроматография, мас спектрометрия, отговарящи на най-високите изисквания. Тези консумативи са с изключително високо качество, произведени в Германия в завода на Thermo Fisher Scientific, както колегата Снехал вече спомена. Заводът се намира в Лангеве. Можете да разгледате всички консумативи също така и на нашия онлайн магазин acm2.com/shop, който сега ще отворя, за да ви покажа. От сайта на ACM може да кликнете на онлайн магазин и се отваря нашият онлайн магазин. Тук можете подробно да видите цялостното описание на повечето консумативи, като за улеснение сме ги разделили в категории шишенца, капачки, септи, комплекти, инструменти, други, като във всяка категория си има и подкатегории, както виждате. Примерно шишенца за Headspace, където излизат шишенца с различни размери и обеми. Като кликнете върху определен продукт, се отваря страница, където може да разглеждате и пълното описание на продукта. В графата брошури и каталози можете да отворите и свалите брошури, насочени за различни групи потребители, в които се намират най-често използваните консумативи. Например, ако отворим фарма и биофарма, излиза каталог с консумативи, които типично се използват, шишенца и капачки, които типично се използват в фармацията. От заглавната страница можете да свалите и пълният каталог с хроматографски консумативи на Thermo Scientific, за които колегата спомена, каза в предната презентация. Тук има всички колони, хроматографски и всички колони и хроматографски консумативи. Каталога е доста голям и понякога отнема малко повече време, докато се отвори. Сега ще се върна на презентацията. От най-широко използваните консумативи държим постоянна складова наличност и реагираме доста бързо, когато направите заявка. Също така предлагаме едни от най-конкурентните цени на пазара, като по никакъв начин не отстъпваме от високото качество. Това е нашият каталог в хартиен и дигитален формат, който може да свалите онлайн от сайта или да получите от нас в хартиен формат, ако желаете. Предлагаме консумативи както за всички автоматизирани системи на Thermo Scientific, така и за всички други производители на хроматографско оборудване без ограничения. Предлагаме също и комплекти с готови решения за всички LC и GC апарати. При интерес можете да отправите запитване през нашия сайт директно на офисният мейл office@acm2.com или на моят dpetrov@acm2.com. Също имаме отделен мейл за заявки, който може да ползвате, това е salesorders@acm2.com. Както ви е най-удобно. Благодаря на всички участници за отделеното време. Надявам се нашият онлайн семинар да е бил полезен и интересен за всички вас. Благодаря ви за вниманието. Ако имате въпроси, можете да ги зададете в чат бокса или съответно можете да се анмютнете и да ги зададете през микрофона.
Благодаря на Митко. Всъщност това е края на нашата програма на семинара за днешния ден на хроматографската част. По програма накрая следва дискусия, така че ако имате някакви въпроси по презентациите, въпроси като цяло към хроматографското и масспектралното портфолио, апарати, консумативи към нас и каквито и да е било коментари, може да ги напишете в чата, може да анмутвате и всеки, ако има някакъв въпрос към нас или към аудиторията или коментар, може да го зададе. За нас вашето мнение естествено е важно, така че ако имате наистина нещо като обратна комуникация, ще се радвам. Поне сега, разбира се, в края на утрешния ден, в края на втория ден от семинарната програма също ще отделим време за въпроси, коментари, идеи, предложения и така нататък. Ако няма обратна връзка от ваша страна, да благодаря още веднъж за вашето присъствие. Надявам се, че с презентациите от днешната програма сме ви били полезни и сме насреща за повече информация за всеки един от групите продукти в хроматографията и масспектрометрията. Благодаря още веднъж. Хубав ден и вечер желая. Бъдете здрави, разбира се. Пазете се и се надявам утре да се чуем и видим дигитално отново. Благодаря. Също само да добавя, че ще оставим чат-бокса още отворен известно време, така че разбира се, ако има нещо допълнително, с удоволствие ще отговорим на вашите въпроси и запитвания. Благодаря още веднъж и хубав ден желая. And once again, thank you very much for all our colleagues and presenters from today. Thanks.